What's the chit chatter, earthly matter? Hope you're ready for some divine omega data straight from the sunspots. You're welcome for another week. Glad you're here. I got a special guest. She's going to join me shortly. And you know how we do it. We actually start with the intro. 5 minutes. Get your glasses up. Get your whatever's up. You know, your party favors and everything. Let's get into it. Got the 10-minute one now. Okay. Feel free to go to YouTube and type into the YouTube. Make sure it's off when you get in there. As far as the volume. And we are on the way. 1 2 1 2. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Awesome, awesome. Words matter. Salute to all my sapiophiles in the building. Wordologists, etymologists. You are a part of it. Join us. Feel free to type. I think, yeah, the YouTube chat is on. Feel free to type in the YouTube chat. Let me make sure that this, okay, yeah. I should be able to see you. Words matter. Words matter. They have a place. Make sure my sound is correct. shenanigans will ensue. Oh yes. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Subscribe to the channel. Like, comment, share. All right. Welcome to the sunspots. The location for intelligent, majestic people. Why not? Some people ask why not? Yes. Let me know how my sound is by putting thumbs up in the YouTube chat if you can. It's also going out to my Facebook people out in Sun Seeds, aka the land of stolen memes. I'm making a lot of stuff up too, stop playing. Put respect on my name.
My dog. Come home, man.
Yes, yes. Down to the last minute and a half. Let's go.
Pick up the door, baby.
30 seconds. Roll. Could have been anywhere in the world, but I'm glad you're here with me. Oh yes. Yes, yes, yes. Welcome, welcome, wellness and oneness. Could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with me right now. This is The Sunspot with your host, True Omega Sun 88. It's just wonderful to be here. I'm glad you're here with me. We're gonna talk. We're gonna speak our words into existence, and this is the topic called Words Matter. And I hope they do in your world as well. And there's some questions I want you to ask yourself as we go along. There's a reason why I named this little moment that we have, this experience of life at this moment called Sunspot. Sunspot is one of the hottest parts of the sun. And the solar flare bounces off of the sunspot on the chromosphere of the actual sun, right? The sun is the foundation of our universe as we know it, as we speak it, and as we, gather information about it, right? And the spot is the darkest part of its circumference. The corona, as you would say, is the stuff that we do see. Inside of the corona is the chromosphere, and then we're going deeper into the actual base of the sun. Just to let you know how that runs. And, it's also my spot. This is where I like to meet up, Can I get a soul clap? Come on. Playing around. Yes, nice. So here's the words matter. And it's one phrase, two words, right? Words, stuff that we speak, the things that we read, the symbols that we break down in our minds to compose thought into language, to express ourselves clearly. And I want you to really take consideration of that, and I also want you to take consideration that your body is basically 3/4 water, right? And we know what sound does to water, or we should know what sound does to water, shouldn't we? With those words and then matter. What is this? Matter can also mean not just a physical being, right? Not just atoms and molecules and things organized in that situation. That too. But matter, like they do have substance in our lives. And what words we use to select to form our matter is the key of this conversation. I wrote some notes down. Like the hymn, here we go. Frequency. Now, I had a stream before this. It was called Words Not Waste. And I wanted to name this Waste No Words. And that's true. I don't want to waste any words. And I like my words, and the S flip it in the beginning, to become the sword. Salute to my man, Lord Have Mercy. New project out there by Lord Have Mercy. Getting busy out here in these streets. Flip mode squad in the building. Wow, that's crazy. And the words should matter. And the words with the S flipping in the beginning of the word can become a sword. And for you guys that, are into the flowery words and the meaningful words that are in certain books, there's a scripture in the Bible, and, there's a character by the name of Jesus that said, I come to bring not peace, but a sword. And then you heard another phrase, the word became flesh. So what are you speaking in existence? We hear the term nowadays, I'm snapping on them, roasting them, dragging them. Disparaging remarks about somebody else, to do what? Belittle? What about your words of conquest? Do you use phraseology to pray, to garner more strength in a certain situation in order to give yourself more structure, more strength, to base it on? People do mantras. Mudras. Mudras is the hand signaling, the hand shaping, to link you to the words. So as you see me gesticulate, which is something I do often, is to basically guide myself and to guide others inside the conversation so it can become more intimate. It's not to wave people off or to bring people in. It's just the flow of conversation. Not conversate. I can't stand that. It's a pet peeve of mine when people say that. And a couple of folks know who I'm talking to. Okay. But frequency, sound vibration, also going into the music, because a lot of what we listen to or consume becomes a part of us. When I took on this journey to do such live streaming, it's basically about information sharing, educational, conceptual ideas, and things of that nature, which you'll see in the second half of the show when I really start letting loose. And we're going to talk about Industry 4.0. Google that on the side if you need to. Do you even know what a Google is? It was like the infinite number type thing. Okay, that's another story. Words not to waste. Frequency. The power of words and how sound vibrations affect matter. We're going to go into the first level of what we're talking about. If you can, right, Google or research Masuru Emoto. Masuru. Masuro Emoto. Emoto. Profound scientist. His study was to see how water changes in the vibration of sound. So when I go into the next film overlay, I want you to see the elements that I have put in place. And then I want you to understand and think about the things that you've been putting into your world in the form of music, entertainment, art, dialogue, and even your self-talk, because we have self-talks among our, in our intimate time, in our moments of solitude, where we have to reaffirm the things that we know, get rid of the things that, are clouding us, and hopefully restructure our matter on a better course, progressive course. Maybe you like gospel. Maybe you like jazz. Maybe you like opera. Maybe you like the Zen music. It's from our 528 hertz listeners and 963 hertz listeners. Islamically, there's very little wiggle room because there's a thing about music and certain tones. But even as you do a certain prayer, the Fatiha. You say it in a tone where the sounding clay resonates with the meaning of your tone. So there's supposed to be a way that you speak to people that brings a holiness, some sanctity, some salvation even. Oh yeah, but we're going to go deep into it. So go into the Masuru Emoto. Let me see if I can show you a little something. Just a little something. Where we at with it? I got so much stuff. Styles infinite. All right, right now it's going to be a small commercial. Then we're going to go into it.
Brooklyn, lay your guns down! Lay them down!
What's up? This is you, Hustle, and I got one thing to say. I want y'all to put the guns down and pick the books up. Education is key.
Please, put down. Put them down. Hold your family down. They need. Beautiful commercial. Glad you was able to see that. I have a guest with me. Hey. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello.
Hello.
Thank you for having me. I am Arub Amatullah. And
Hold on. I'm not going to leave you out there like that. Say your name again, please.
Arub Amatullah. Thank you for the warm welcome.
Welcome aboard, and that's a beautiful name. Understand that, wow, because names mean a lot. As we say, the words matter, and a young brother talked to me about today, actually a couple of days ago, about how the ancient Egyptians would wait a certain amount of time before they named the child. You know, so can you explain at least part of your name, anyone that you feel comfortable with?
Well, Arub Amatullah was not the name that I was given at birth. It was a name that I chose to receive as I evolved, which would make so much sense as to, waiting like the Egyptians did before they gave the child a name.
Mm-hmm, yes.
Usually, we have no control over our name, of course, at birth because it's given to us by our parents, and they mean well. Most of the time, they mean well, and they give us the names. But I feel like Arub was given to me at my second birth. So
powerful.
Yeah, once I evolved and gained knowledge of self, for lack of a better phrase right now, Arub was given to me, and I chose to accept it. I chose to accept it because it explained who I was, a mother of many, teacher of many.
There we go. And that's the vibe, right? A word in the name, there was a term in etymology called nomenclature, and the surname was to describe your occupation in the society itself. At this point, understand that we're speaking through a language that is not necessarily the groupings language from origination, right? So they've also been given these surnames, all of us, like Smith, Johnson, Jackson, things of that nature. Can you tell me what you know about certain last names and how they, how they give off certain vibes, if you know anything about that?
Well, I know the last names given to our people in this country were through our slave owners. We were owned by these people, so you belong to the Williams or the Smiths or the Fraziers, the Chambers. This is who you belong to. So that was the purpose of the surnames in the country as far as black people go, or African people in the country go.
Yes.
I believe that once people realize that it's very important to either try to discover your ancestry, your own name through our ancestors, or just seek to be free and choose a name that fits you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that was the whole purpose for the NOI using the premise of X, where we have somebody as strong as Brother Malcolm X, and then, Clarence 13X, and, people always didn't know what the number was. It's actually that many people by the same name choosing X. So you got John Smith, you got maybe 20 John Smiths, you got, John 20X. And the X was to be unknown because you didn't really know where your lineage was or what your, the people that came before you exactly, where they were from and things of that nature.
Right. Because we were robbed of so much of our culture and of our history, X, was. I often wondered why this.
Mm.
And I guess because, again, words do matter. But X, like you said, represents unknown. But X also represents being found.
Oh,
like with pirates and the X marks the spot, things like that. And, when you were looking for gold, you found the X and there it is. So maybe X didn't necessarily mean that we were lost. Maybe X means that we were found.
Yes, and that's why the term is lost found for those that want to seek, know, and understand. All right. How important is frequency? In many, especially nowadays, in today's discussions, especially in between males and females, there's a lot of talk about tone and delivery. Now, what's your idea on that? What's going on with that?
Yeah, tone is important, but tone and delivery do go together. I'm a believer in choosing your words carefully. Like, for example, if we're texting, of course, you leave it up to your interpretation on how I'm saying what to you.
Yes.
But if I'm saying it to you, and you're listening to the way I'm delivering it, or the way I sound when I say it, like I can say, "Oh, I love you," or I can say, "I love you." It comes out different.
Oh, yes, it does.
It's very important. Yeah, it's very important. The two go together.
Right.
My take on it, I'll come back to that. I'll come back to that.
Well, let me, for everybody to understand, I put this sister on the spot. Yeah, you can, pin me to the wall in a minute. But I know she's sharp, and I also know that she understands the assignment, as y'all do talk about right now, right? And it's very important to have a good organic, discussion with somebody that's opposite of you as well. We have a lot of these contentious statements and, people talking from a hurt place most of the times. And then there's also agenda talk, like people position themselves in a certain agenda and then, try to sculpt the conversation to fit the agenda that they sit on. And I really don't like that type of information. And that's why I wanted to go straight into tone. There are certain people that are out there that have great platforms and could deliver quality information, but people get blocked because of the tone and delivery. Like, why you gotta say it like that, and why I gotta sound like that? You sound like my daddy or something like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's not to trigger anything, but sometimes we do need to hear a rough message. To straighten ourselves up. What do you think about that?
I think about tone. You can't always have it sweet like honey. Especially if you're raising children. I think about children when you use a tone. It's no secret that we are different. I'm talking about Europeans and Africans who are raising our children, And we usually give our children a tone. We don't have to strike them. We don't have to, all we have to do is look at them or
That
give
that
them that
look.
tone. That look and the tone it goes together.
Right,
Like,
right.
didn't I tell you not to, and no one can see me clenching my teeth right now, but I got that tone often along with the look. Tone is very important.
Wow.
Tone is tone is important in love language. Tone is
Mm,
important in personal relationships with your friends. Especially if you all are having a discussion about something that you all may not agree on.
that's a very key thing right there. Very key.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's drill down that for a minute because uh, um, I hear a lot about uh, I talk this way because I'm passionate.
Mm.
No, you just
Mm.
yelling at me, really. I'm not getting, I'm not getting what you're saying,
Right.
because you're too animated in this. Bring some logic in. Have you ever encountered something like that before?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And some people may talk that way because they're passionate. They really want to get their message across. You know, I'm watching you right now, and I'm watching your body movement, and I'm listening to your tone, and you really want to get the message out. You really want to have this conversation. Why? Because these words matter.
Hey, back to the
Who?
topic. Go
Right.
on,
Who
go on
do
with your
they
bad
matter to
self.
though?
Hello. Come on, man.
I got my little ways. I got my little ways
Like these sound effects, they matter.
I'm here for it. I'm here for
Yeah. So
it.
yeah, I definitely passion is important in your tone. Think about it, could we experience such great music that we enjoyed to listen to, like Earth, Wind and Fire or
Yes.
Peebo Bryson and stuff, without their passion and their tone in the music and the way they deliver it. So
Now that's a
yeah, I
yeah. Let me camel back
mhm,
on what you're saying.
mhm,
That's very important when we start to talk about lyrics because um, the passion in the lyrics can deliver great songs. From great
mhm,
songwriters. Delivers the
mhm,
experience of it. Um, like a little baby song is a little more resonating to his passion and how he wanted to get out the hood. And little baby is like a new artist. I'm giving you young folks, I'm giving you young people,
they
some
know who
credit.
he is. Trust me, they know.
Oh yeah, yeah. And I admire some of his lyrics because he don't just talk about the wins. He talks about losses.
Mhm.
And a lot of our good MCs growing up and are solidified as great artists in the culture always had that balance.
Mhm.
Can you say that there's a balance still, or have we gone over the deep end with some of that stuff?
There's absolutely no balance.
Damn, that one you threw in. They get the horn. Where's my horn? There you
Yeah, I believe a lot of the artists, and this is just my opinion because of the generation that I come from. I'm pretty sure if there are different listeners on the line right now, I don't want to offend anyone who may be Generation Z or millennial
right.
or, but I am a Gen Xer, and the music to me today is absolutely different. There is no balance. It's they call it passion, but it's negative. It's very negative, and it's detrimental to the culture. And this is, like I said, this is my opinion, but there's also evidence of this as well, and we can look around us and see today that that the music does not have a balance. There are some great artists out there who are filled with passion. I think you and I discussed this before.
Yes.
I like
Yes.
K Dot. I like J Cole. I even like I can't think of his name right now. He just dropped a new album. He's
Drake.
always singing
No.
about his clothes. I can't think of his name right now, but he's an awesome artist, and but it still teeters towards the negativity, and unfortunately, the world likes to
Watch
watch
it burn.
itself burn.
Yeah,
So
yeah. You told me about
yeah,
that
we talked
before.
about that before.
Now, this is all still frequency. I want people to understand that in the music at one time, um, there's something called the 440 frequency for those that are, I don't like to say um, conspiracy theorists or nothing like that, but there has been a pattern of people that are willing to control through systematic means, and
Absolutely.
yeah, and they have a methodology to do that. And the 440 tone was something that was used in like brainwashing techniques, along with certain psychotropic drugs and things of that nature.
Absolutely.
And when you really start to package together and pin it down, you'll see how it actually was packaged and networked into a culture like hip hop. Not to say that's the only that's the only genre or only culture that gets it, but it was purposely packaged there. Up to the point where it's self-perpetual now. It's basically on its own devices, it's on its own machine. When we speak about something like pale paranoia, aka white supremacy, its movement is to make it itself autonomous. It has to run automatically. It's not to just be always forced with hammer and nail, and that's the significance that we need to understand. So okay, you're like, why would you even go there? We're not. It's not about racism either. It's, the dumbing down of people has always been profitable for those in power.
So in actuality, it is about racism.
And I would say that's a vehicle for it. That's a vehicle.
Well, I say that because
Bring it down.
right,
Bring it up.
there, it's about racism because it's about another, race trying to control another one. Even though they are the authors of racism, it's still an ism, like classism or fascism. It's still an ism, and they use
Mm.
that frequency to control the minds of people who don't understand. And I say they because, like, again, they are the authors of the racism. They're the ones who started this all. So they know that they have to use certain methods, or certain things to try to control the masses. And I mean, like Malcolm X said, or the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, if you want to know anything about white people, you study them because
Oh,
they're certainly studying you.
yeah, and that was even broader in that view, in that world view actually, because there's a lot more to consider. That's why the next half of what I do for this show is Industry 4.0,
Hmm.
where it's going to go beyond skin. It's going to be beyond skin color. You think there's not something out there. There's something out there that has an intelligence and resources that are actually being presented, today's time, what they call real time. The metaverse is coming up and things of that nature. This is not going to be something that we're going to look at as a passe virtual playground. You know what I mean? This is going to be with virtual playgrounds comes vicarious living. Mm. Get on that right there. Okay. So we're talking about frequency. We talk about the 440, how that was packaged into, and the 440 hertz. When understand it for what its essence is, it was like a bass beat to keep people in lockstep with the program ahead, and you would pattern your music to the bass beat in order to, win over the crowd. They said that the Beatles were good with that transition in music. Remember, we were coming off of jazz, blues, you could say bluegrass, and this is around, say to the 60s into the 70s. 70s gave us more soul, funk, R&B, which is rhythm and blues, which is soul and blues, and the sounds were more enlightening, enriching. If you know Ramsey Lewis, he's one of the progenitors of the Earth, Wind, and Fire movement, and was able to bring that jazz sound into modern R&B at that time, mixing with funk. George Clinton and Parliament Funkadelic, who still had elements of jazz inside of R&B music as funk. Ohio Players, and those are the guys that are transitioning into the next phase of life, in our lifetime, and whose music, as of now, you sample it, you basically, throwing your whole record away. They don't want that music to resurface itself, even though it was brought up in this 440 kind of bastardized sound, but it was able to lift the best part of it and put it into the urban community. What do you go to sleep to? Any of you guys out there been asleep to Onyx? You don't hear me. Have you been asleep to the baby?
I was like, is that a real question?
Yeah, Think about it. A person may be sitting in the trap listening to Future all day, making these sales, you know what I'm saying, while getting the lean in the Percocet. This is all an experience. It's a moment packaged.
Exactly.
And if I always say this, if one person can find success in it, 5 others will try it. You know what I'm saying? So if you put that image out there, and they say this is a success model for them to get forward, even to get some bread in their pocket for the meantime, they're going to follow suit with it, especially if it comes with a whole culture attached to it.
Which would explain why they play that type of music in prisons these days for our people. They play music that's just going to keep them rowdy and rioting and amp, so to say, and hurting one another, just, and then of course, the words do matter along with the frequency, along with, so.
Here's another thing, right? Yeah. I'm wearing this nice stuff right here, this is a beautiful soft shirt right here, and beautiful tie right now, I had a great experience a little earlier. Don't get nosy. Yes. But it's also to show that there was a lost culture with the music that was from yesteryear. There was a time when people actually dressed up to go to clubs and parties, and just to even go out to their family hangouts and things of that nature, especially around the holidays, right?
Right.
Can you talk to me about that a little bit? Because that's a frequency.
Absolutely. It was a high time. Let me just put it like that. That's what they say back in the day. It was a high time. Yes, absolutely. I remember those days too. Yeah, you could not go to grandma's house with leggings on and boots. You had to get dressed. You had to have your hair done. You had to be clean, dressed to the nines to go out. It was almost like, if you ever went to the Russian tea room, or, even to go to the Chinese food spot, you had to get dressed up.
Shoot.
Yes, those times have definitely gotten away from us, those high times, because it's like almost anything goes, depending upon, how you were raised now, because some of us were still, some of us are brought up like that, and some of us were not.
Right.
But, yeah, that was definitely, that is something that we should certainly want to get back to, because it gives you a sense of it's a self-esteem builder. When you see yourself get all cleaned up and look all good and stuff, and it's important to show that, okay, look, we are here, we look good, we're doing this, we're not, I don't know, the judges of society, I don't know, just.
It's decency.
Here. Right, exactly.
Decency.
So,
You think about the economy that gets taken out when those factors were there. I mean, people would say at one point, "Oh, you dressing like the European, or you dressing like you uppity and stuff like that," and it wasn't necessarily that. We have black dry cleaners, black tailors, um, cobblers. Cobbler, if Google that if you want to, took care of your shoes, because you wanted to make sure your shoes last a long time. You would shine them and have them buff, so the shoe shines were taken out. And when I go into Industry 4.0, we're going to see the next level of not just careers, but jobs, things that a young person can do to get some spare money in their pocket, being taken out the loop. You know, just a few years ago, I went to a Shake Shack, because I like shakes, I ain't gonna front. There was nobody to service you. The kiosk you had to go to. And from the kiosk, you made your order, and when you got to the counter, there were only two people there. The manager and the person that may make a couple of things. But everything else was automated and robotic. And you think about, okay, what does that mean to me? As a young person, you may be able to work in a fast food restaurant. Get you a couple of dollars in your pocket. Just for the meantime, until you were able to establish what your studies are and what your career path would be, or just to build a portion of your resume to show that you can, do this, that, and the third. You know what I'm saying? Valuable social skills that are transferable. Be able to engage with the public. All that gets taken away in favor of TikTok and OnlyFans. Think about it. So that's yeah, sorry.
Yeah, no. What you're saying is 100, because unfortunately, I mean, the internet is a great thing, but then it could be a bad thing. Information highway is a good thing, because you learn so much, and but then our generations are exposed to so much as well, that some stuff that they don't really need to be exposed to. And like you said, it takes away from that personal touch, that that
natural touch. Shoot.
Yeah, it takes away from a lot. Like, people are having dinner at the table and everyone's got their cell phones out.
Oh, yeah, there we go. Talk about it, because that's context. Yeah. That's context.
Yeah, absolutely.
How many things get taken out of hand because a picture might pop up in your feed. Like, yo, what you looking at?
Right, and now everyone's focused again on the wrong thing, instead of talking to one another and family time and getting to know how was your day? How was your day? So,
right.
Yeah, we're missing a lot.
The intimate, personal information about one's well-being, and when I greet people, I usually say wellness. Wellness, oneness, or peace and wellness, or solidarity and wellness and stuff like that. I try to mix the wellness in there because I want you to be well.
Exactly.
And that's the word of power for me.
Yeah.
So the words matter. When I put the word
Absolutely they do.
into effect, it matters. Yeah. Okay, so we're also with that.
Wellness.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, right. With that context, right? How do you feel about texting?
Guilty. It's convenient. It's a quick fix. But again, when you send a text message, you don't really get, it's left up to interpretation.
Right.
So, again, like I said, I could be saying something to you that's important, or the way I'm delivering it, you wouldn't know because it's in a text message. But if I say it to you, So text messaging is, I'm guilty of it. I really am. I don't want to sound like a hypocrite here.
Wait. Where's the joint at? There we go. Yeah, we all are. We all are.
I'm guilty of it.
Yeah, only
But
because you lose the tone of it, and
yes,
read stuff if they're really trying to figure something out, and they're like,
exactly.
is this intimate or is this weird? Like,
Right. Or is it right? Is this intimate? Right. Or is he just being weird? Right. Exactly.
yeah,
So
the tone matters in this respect. The tone and delivery matters, especially if you're delivering something so personal from
absolutely.
you. You want to hear the person's voice. Um, and this is where technology is good because I like to do the balance thing, right? So video calls are great. Um, Calling somebody from anywhere in the world is just fabulous. Our live streaming and vlogging has actually been a benefit to the global community because you get to see how other people live on their side of the world.
Exactly. Yeah.
You
People who
know,
live right next door to you.
right? And you never would have known what they were going through.
Exactly.
And
And that's what I mean. The internet is great. For certain things. It is. It's great for certain things. So you get to know people like you never thought that you would even know ever.
yes,
It
yes.
could be great for some things.
And you're linking people with the similar interests. You're linking people with the converging of ideas and opinions. And this is when you have productive use of this thing that we're into, the boxes. you know,
Mm.
and to see it go to ruin, especially with groups that's supposed to look like each other or even have the same interests, is very disappointing and disheartening because we're losing time, and we're also losing the decency factor, which gives you respect as a grouping.
Mm.
And at this juncture, I look at certain apps that are out there, and this is another thing, right? Wait, hold on. My man said,
Take it like a stripper tighten up.
yeah.
So disappointing.
Right. Okay. Let me bring you back to you. There's apps out there that actually want you to be in contention with somebody,
Mm. Really?
and will pay you.
Wow.
Yeah, because like moths to a flame, people like drama. They want to see the car crash, as you say, see the
The
world
world
burn.
burn.
And then they'll flock and give money and effort and time, and then pick apart certain things, and there's this big CSI investigation about who did what about who and who was talking about what, and it's for nothing.
Mm.
At least in my eyes, in my opinion, it's for nothing.
It's sad. Oh, it's such a two-sided coin. It is. It's such a two-sided. I mean, well, yeah, it's like heads or tails.
Hmm.
The world, our world. I'm not gonna say the world because the whole world is not influenced by the internet. Thank goodness. I want to believe that anyway. I just want to believe that the whole world is not influenced by the internet. But a
Well,
good
sister, there's
majority
more
of it is.
cell phones that are active than
Yeah,
people on
it
the
is.
planet. Anyway.
I guess I'm living in denial right now. I just don't want to believe that the whole world is influenced by cell phone, by the internet. But a good majority of it is. The thing we have to understand, as far as the subject matter goes, is where to draw the line, and that's really like just the bottom line for me. Where do you draw the line?
Hmm.
Where do you
Yes.
go from, or how do you go from like from reality to fantasy? I might be getting off topic with this one. That what is it? You said metaverse, right?
Metaverse,
Because you
yes.
mentioned that.
Yeah,
Yes, you
yeah.
mentioned that.
It's a real thing.
Yes, and it's here. I mean, it ain't coming. It's here.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
it
Whole
just
new.
reminds me of that. I'm
Yes.
sorry.
Yeah, there's a whole economy that's coming with that.
Yeah, exactly. Cloning and all this other stuff, and it's all here. It's all here already. We thought, we looking at it in movies, with the movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and thinking, oh wow, that that was 1986, and they were
Hmm.
already talking about it and stuff like that. But what we as a society, I would hope that we would understand that somewhere we have to draw the line, and that we would be able to understand that fantasy and reality are two. They don't. I mean, you can. I guess you can live your fantasy through some of your fantasies through your reality, but there is a line to be drawn.
Ooh, it's gonna get weird. It's gonna get weird. I know you heard of.
Sometimes.
You ever seen the movie? What's that? Judge Dredd.
No, I did not.
Sandra Bullock and Sylvester
Oh,
Stallone.
you said Judge Dredd.
Judge Dredd. Yes.
Yes, that's wow. That's a classic. Yeah.
Remember the headset that they put
Yes.
on so they can
Mhm.
engage in sensual activity?
Absolutely.
That's
Yep.
the Oculus.
Have you seen? It's a Netflix series.
Black Mirror.
Yes,
Yes. 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 Yes.
that was